All right, hello students, this is Ms. Medina, and in this video, we're going to talk about the vertical line test and how that can help us determine if our graph is a function or not. All right, so the vertical line test is a way to determine whether or not your relation is a function, okay? The vertical line test simply states that if a vertical line intersects the relations graph in more than one place, then the relation is not a function. So then when we look at a graph and we ask ourselves, is it a function? Well, we can draw one or multiple vertical lines. So the function is this one. We talked about this in class, so hopefully I won't mess it up. Through. That's your function, right? This one is just your axes. This is just the x-axis and the y-axis, okay? And so you're just going to draw, if your vertical line touches your function at more than one place, then it's not a function. And of course, you do multiple ones. So for example, if you draw a vertical line right here, you're only touching it at one place. But the fact that there's other vertical lines that touch it at other two places, multiple places, then that means that this is not a function. All right, so looking at this one, so let's clarify what we're seeing. This black line is the x, this black line is the y-axis. The function is this straight line right here. And that's your vertical line test. And you can see that this vertical line is only touching your function once. And you can do multiple vertical lines, right? You can visualize them as you're moving your vertical line. Right? And we're only talking about touching. So we had a question about this in class, but it's also touching the x-axis. That's fine. We don't care about it touching the x-axis. We're talking about whether the vertical line is touching the relation function, right here. And it's only touching the function or relation once. And in this case, that means that this graph is a function. And this test is very useful for continuous functions. So continuous functions are the ones where we don't have, what should I say this? It's not just dots, right? All the dots are connected. All right, so let's talk about domain. Domain is what are the x values that we can use as input to this function. So let me pick a color that is going to stand out amongst, this is already has red and blue, so let me see if this purple is not too. All right, so if I were to draw vertical lines, right, and I'm going to erase these, like that's a vertical line. Did I touch the blue function? No. Did I touch the blue function? No. I don't touch the blue function until this point right here. Right, and yes, that is the y-axis, right? And then otherwise, if I keep on drawing vertical lines, I'm going to keep on touching the function. This right here is the last time that I touch the function, right? My vertical lines will touch the function in between, but not outside of this. Okay, so let me erase these in the middle. I'm not sure why I'm erasing them, but here we go. I think I'm gonna do that. All right, so now let's identify our x values. What is the x value at this vertical line? And this might be hard. You have to remember you're focusing on x's. So your x's go like this: -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the x value here is x equals 0. Clear? I don't know where to write it so that it fits and it's not in the way. All right, so it goes from x equals 0. Very annoying that these things are in the way. Of course, it's not filled in. All right, give me. All right, I give up. I couldn't figure it out, but I'm just gonna have to use this one. X. Oh, okay. sorry, x equals 0, right? This is where the orange line stands. And the orange line ends when x equals 8. Well, that means, and every number in between those two, and there's an infinite number. So there's two types of way of writing the domain. So this is the first one we do. Please make sure that you're recording this, okay? The first one is interval notation. And the other one is inequality notation. All right, so for interval notation, and I gave you this information in class, but it goes like this, okay? If you have a closed circle, then you're going to use brackets. And that's when we use less than or equal to. If you have an open circle, that's when we use parentheses, and then we just have the less than symbol, no bars. And you can have a combination, okay? And then you'll see those combinations when we do the practice on IXL. But let's say you start with an open circle and it finishes with a closed circle. So then you would do parentheses here and you would do brackets there. Clear? And so on and so forth. All right, so remember this. Okay. So for interval notation, you'll notice that both of these are closed circles right here and right here, okay? So that means that it starts at x equals 0 and it ends at x equals 8. Sorry, here we go. Now for interval notation, to turn this into interval notation, remember that domain is x. So we know that x is going to be less than or equal to 8, greater than or equal to 0. And then that would be your interval, your inequality notation. They're both brackets, so that's why both of these have equal signs. All right, let's try it again with the range. Now, the range is your y values. So for this one, we're going to use the y-axis. So instead of these vertical lines, we're going to use horizontal lines. I say we go with green. Oh no, we can't. All right, let me find green. Why? Because I want to use green. There is no green pen. Life is sad. There you are. All right, so now I'm going to draw horizontal lines to see where my function is. And remember, this is where your function is, okay? Function starts here, and it goes here, here, and here. Okay? Those are the only place on the coordinate plane where your function exists. All right, so if I draw a horizontal line here, am I touching the function? No. Right? Am I touching the function here? No. Am I touching the function? No, right? Because we're talking about the function being the blue one right here. No. If I draw this horizontal line, am I touching the function? No. I don't touch the function until my horizontal line reaches this point right here. See? And what's the y value there? And remember, you're counting your y's. So your y's start here at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is at y equals 4. And then you keep going with your horizontal line. See, we're touching the function. We're touching the function, right? But then we reach this point right here. And this is the last horizontal line that touches the function, right? At that point right there. And what's the value of y there? So we just keep counting. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Y equals 9. So the outputs of this function lie between y equals 4 and y equals 9. And we write this like this. 4, 9. You always start with a smaller number. That's why 4 goes first. And to turn this into inequality notation, we have to use the variable. Remember, the variable is y. And it's going to be less than or equal to 9, greater than or equal to 4, right? And we're using the less than or equal to symbol because we have brackets. How about that for the first time? Not bad, right? Woof. Make sure you do your homework so you practice the skill. Let's do this again. All right. All right, all right. So, first of all, let's highlight our function. Our function is here. See, closed circle. Then it goes down. Sorry, my squiggly lines. Then it goes across. And then it goes down. There. Beautiful. Now, we're going to do domain. In order to do domain, we have to draw vertical lines. All right, so if I draw a vertical line here, am I touching the function? No. How about here? No. I don't touch the function until my vertical line is this one. Okay? And then from there, I'm touching the function everywhere, see? Let me skip a few, otherwise there's too many vertical lines. Until here. This right here is the last vertical line that touches my function. So I want to know what those bounds are. And then remember, we're counting x's. So you got to look at your x-axis. So you got -10, -9, -8, -7. So x equals -7 here. Keep going, 0, 1, 2, 3. X equals 3. So those are the bounds. So for the domain, it's going to start at -7 and it's going to end at 3. Now, how do I know they're brackets? They're brackets because if you look at the end here, right? They're closed circles. The whole thing is solid, so we're good. Another way of writing this is, remember, domain is x, less than or equal to 3, greater than or equal to -7. Okay? All right, so now range. Where are you, green? Now for the range, we got to ask ourselves when we draw the horizontal lines. If I draw this horizontal line, am I touching the function? No. All right, let me do a little bit of cleaning up here. Okay, get rid of this. This should be enough. All right, so with regards to that, no, this one is not touching. And so you keep on drawing horizontal lines. How about this horizontal line? No, it's still not touching the function. Remember, the function is the blue. All right, so we don't touch the blue function until this horizontal line. And I skipped the 4 because if I write over it, then it's going to cover it. Clear? And so what's the y value here? The y value here is -4. So y equals -4. And then from there, any horizontal line is going to touch your function, right? This one touches the function. But that's not the last one because, you know, this one is still touching your function, okay? The last one is this one. All right, and you know how to use your y-axis, -4, 0, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. This one is y equals 8. And so how do we write the range? For the range, it's going to start at -4. Remember, we start with a smaller number, and it ends at 8. Oops, I almost put parentheses. It should be brackets. And range is y. It's going to be less than or equal to 8. Greater than or equal to -4. Okay, I think I did pretty good with my explanation. Domain and range. Oh, is it a function? I forgot to answer that question. All right, so you guys have this on video, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. Is it a function? We can ask ourselves that question like this. All right, if I draw vertical lines, I'm only touching ones right here, ones right here, ones right there, ones right there. So then the answer to that is yes, it's a function, okay? Now, if we clean this one up over here, all right, my bad. And looking at this one, now if I draw a vertical line here, you see how I'm touching the function at multiple places here? That means it's not a function, okay? If I draw one here, I'm only touching one, see? So nice and pretty, but then we go back to this one, and once again, we're touching the function at multiple places. So when you have this multiple dots on the same horizontal line, that means it's not a function. Okay. All right, so looking at this one, if you draw vertical lines, you see you touch ones, everywhere. Every time we draw them, we're only touching one, so then yes, this one is a function, okay? Oops, oh, here it is. Now let's do the domain. We're doing orange for domain, right? So here we go. So for the domain, the first vertical line is this one, and that happens at x equals -4. And the last vertical line is this one, so that happens at x equals 3. So the domain goes from -4 to 3, right? Or like this. The range, I'm looking for green, found you. The range, remember if you start drawing horizontal lines, are you touching the blue function? No. Are you touching the blue function? No. We don't touch the blue function until this line right here. And what's the y value there? The y value there is 0. And then after that, you draw this one. In fact, you're touching this one. It doesn't matter how many times you touch in horizontal lines. The last one is this one. And that's y equals 2. Okay. So your range goes from 0 to 2. And remember to switch the variable when you're doing range, you're using y. Less than or equal to 2, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to 0. But, all right, so if you need more help with this, let me know. I'm going to make another video with the practices from iExcel and Delta Math to show you all the different variations of domain and range, okay?